It was exactly noon on Wednesday, September 23, 1857, in Lower Manhattan. The city was anxious. Banks were starting to tremble. Businesses were cutting back, and rumors of a financial collapse hung in the air like smoke. A tall, quiet cloth merchant named Jeremiah Lanphier walked up the stairs of the Old North Dutch Reformed Church on Fulton Street with a simple idea in his heart. What if I just open a room and pray? For 3 months, he had gone from office to office, boarding house to boarding house, inviting people to come to a noon prayer meeting once a week. He had handed out flyers that asked one piercing question: how often shall I pray? Now, the moment had come. He had permission to use a room on the 3rd floor. No band, no famous preacher, no money. Just a room, some chairs, and a burden. At 12 o'clock, Jeremiah opened the door, set out a few hymn books, and knelt to pray. The city noise echoed up from the streets. Wagon wheels on cobblestones, shouting vendors, the distant sound of ship horns from the harbor. He waited and prayed. 12:10. He lifted his head and looked at the empty doorway. No one. 12:15. Still no one. His church leaders hadn't really believed in this idea. They had given him the room, but not much more. Maybe they were right. Maybe people were too busy. Maybe New York was just too hard.
Friend, stop here with him for a moment. Imagine you did everything you knew to do. You invited, you planned, you obeyed what you felt God was saying, and the room stayed empty. Would you keep praying? 12:20. Jeremiah kept going. He opened his Bible. He whispered scripture back to God. He asked for mercy on a city that seemed too distracted to care. He felt the weight of every unanswered invitation, every closed office door, every polite smile that ended with, maybe someday. 12:25. Still no one. I want to ask you a question right now, in this moment. If you have ever felt like Jeremiah, like you obeyed God, you showed up, and it looked like nothing happened, type the word waiting in the comments. That one word is your agreement with this story. 12:30. 30 minutes alone. Then, footsteps on the stairs. One businessman opened the door, a little out of breath. Then another. Then 4 more. By the end of that first meeting, 6 men were in the room, praying quietly with Jeremiah Lanphier. 6, not 600, but it was enough to decide to meet again the following Wednesday. The next week, 20 came. The week after, 40. The group agreed to start meeting every day instead of once a week. Noon to 1, lunch hour only. No long sermons, no emotional manipulation. Just singing, reading scripture, and short 5-minute prayers. They even kept an hourglass on the table so no one person could dominate the time. Outside those walls, the financial panic exploded. Within weeks, banks failed, railroads collapsed, thousands lost jobs. But inside that little room on Fulton Street, businessmen and clerks, shopkeepers and laborers began to cry out to God for mercy on their city. Reports say that soon hundreds were packing into that single meeting and more rooms had to be opened. Newspapers started to take notice. A reporter from one New York paper tried to track the noon prayer meetings across the city and gave up counting. Within 6 months, about 10,000 people were gathering daily in New York alone to pray, and the fire spread. Philadelphia, Chicago, Cleveland, cities and small towns across the young United States started their own noon prayer meetings. Historians estimate that within about 2 years, around 1 million people were added to the churches in America, in a nation of only about 30 million. One historian called it the greatest revival in New York's history, born not from a famous sermon, but from a single lunch hour. And it all began with one man who refused to walk back down the stairs at 12:15 when the room was empty. One man who decided that the absence of people did not mean the absence of God. So what does this mean for you? You might not be in Manhattan. Your crisis may not be a national bank panic. Maybe it's the numbers in your bank account, the silence in your house, the door that hasn't opened yet. Maybe you've started praying for something, for a prodigal child, for a job, for a healing, for a nation. And if you looked around with your natural eyes, it would feel like that empty room at 12:10. But the story of Jeremiah Lanphier is not about 6 men in a room. It is about a God who listens when his children humble themselves, seek his face, and pray, even when the chairs around them are empty. It is about what heaven was already preparing while Jeremiah thought nothing was happening. I want to invite you to do something simple but costly. Choose one situation in your life that feels like that empty room. Name it, specifically, in the comments. My marriage, my son, this debt, my country. And then add this sentence: Lord, I will keep showing up. Let this episode be your Fulton Street, your decision to keep praying when you can't yet see who is coming up the stairs. The God who heard Jeremiah at 12:15 hears you now, and you have no idea what he may be preparing on the other side of your obedience.